Hey, Warrior Saints. Glad to have you beautiful people with us as we continue our conversation from yesterday. Maybe as we switch threads, let's just say that we are trying very hard to identify as a Warrior Saint and do what we're supposed to be doing, living the way God has called us to live, following His word. And then persecution pops.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you and I both have faced backlash for our teachings, and hopefully we're teaching. I think we're teaching the gospel to the best of our ability, and we have not said anything that's outside of the bounds of that. Although sometimes the culture doesn't want to hear it because it's calling them into selflessness and and to abandon selfishness. It's saying hard things. It's saying you're wrong. It's saying like come back to the light, brother. Come back. What do you do, and how do you face how do you confront when you get called out that your identity is somehow wrong? And you said it earlier, when people claim this stupid stuff we have to freaking listen to, but your identity is oppressive, right? Or like you said the word, you become an ist, or you become part of an ism. You know what I mean? When you're just speaking truth according to God's word and you get attacked.
Carefully.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's a heavy weight sometimes.
It's very heavy because everyone is so locked into this idea of dichotomy that we can't see that people sometimes are thinking outside of that dichotomy, right? So we talk all the time, people talk all the time about you have to think outside the box. You have to think outside the box. But they want you in a box. Right? They want you to be in something that they can define,
right?
That they then can understand, so that they then can know whether or not they like it.
And they can control you.
And then they can control
you. Here's the challenge. When you want to bust outside the box, they throw those labels at you and you get, uncomfortable and you want to stay in the box. Look, we did a whole series. I encourage everyone, watch our series on Revelation. It's on our website, warriorsaints.org. We have a series, a course, Understanding the Bible, which is that. We try to teach to the best of our ability so that people can understand the Bible. We did a whole series on Revelation, and that whole thing, the whole thesis of the book of Revelation, the whole impetus is that Christians were early century, obviously, Christians were abandoning their faith because the Romans were throwing them to the lions, right? They were saying, no, you can't get out of this box. You gotta, and be a Christian. You have to come back and worship the pagan gods. Maybe we'll let you worship like the Jews, but otherwise we're going to throw you to the lions, right? And some people were abandoning. So it was encouraging them to, the book, stay strong, even if you lose your life. So you and I, thank God, we may not be fed to the lions literally today, but when we speak truth, we do face that backlash, and people are saying, no, get back in the box, right?
Yeah.
Made me think Revelation, which is very well connected to the book of Daniel. And you said earlier, the furnace, that whole story in chapter 3 where Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego were, in favor with the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar, because they had interpreted dreams. But then in chapter 3, he says, hey, everybody, worship me. I'm going to build a big statue of me and worship. And when you hear, I forget exactly, but the sound of the lyre and the trigon and the harp and the,
sackbut.
Yeah, all that stuff, you have to bow down before the image. And these three guys said, we're not doing that. And he gets enraged. He's going to kill them. And he says, what are you doing? Why will you not? Let's read it. Now, if you are ready when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music to fall down and worship the image which I have made, well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. That's what you were talking about earlier. And who is the God that will deliver you out of my hands? And then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image which you have set up. And it's simple. It's clear. Look, God can save us. You're going to throw us, we're not going to bow down. Then you're going to throw us into this burning fiery furnace. Our God can save us. Although he may choose not to. I don't know. We can't speak for him. But even if he doesn't, we are so well identified as his servants, we will go to the fiery furnace, but we're not going to bow down.
Yeah. Because they had a culture that defined them that way. They
Yeah.
had, I mean, they were from a place where that was what they did. That was how they lived. That was who they were.
Well, they heard the call.
And they answered.
And they answered it, and they weren't going to waver, even if it meant a horrible, fiery death. And that's the challenge that I think that, you know, as warrior saints, that's the challenge of our identity. Once you say it, man, you've got to go, and it's going to be freaking hard.
Yeah.
Because there will be times where people will come after you. Well, it's hard because living the crucifixion life means sacrifice. But on top of that, you are going to face persecution, and you will feel that temptation to waver and blend in with the modern cultures,
Right.
and, you know, and kind of kowtow to what you believe and not to what they believe and not really stick true. But the challenge is, don't waver.
Right.
Endure.
Endure to the end, which is from Revelation. And the life of St. Ignatius of Antioch talks about this clearly. I mean, he writes in his letter to the Romans that don't stop them from killing me in the lion's den. I am pure wheat. He refers to himself as an offering made to God. And then he ends that section with, then I will truly be a Christian. Then will I have actually earned the name.
Right.
He will actually live out what it means to fully do what it means to take up his cross and follow Christ.
Absolutely.
Going to that persecution willingly, voluntarily. I mean, Christ talks about it in the Beatitudes when he's in the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. Like it's what we're called to. We're called to the persecution. If we then shy away from the persecution, then we're not really doing it.
Because you're not proving it. Look,
Right.
the Ignatius thing you brought up is awesome. Like that whole statement about, then I will have earned the name.
The name.
Like, look, I identify, says St. Ignatius, as a Christian, right? Well, do you? What are you going to do when the lions are on the line? And Ignatius said, baby, I'm going.
Right.
He then earned that name. And so and you and I don't have to face the lions today. Literal lions. There are other metaphorical ones that are nasty and after us. And so that's the question that we pose to everybody out there. Maybe we wrap this all up here, like with this exhortation, is to say, look, we're calling all to be, not we. God is calling all men and women to be warrior saints, to be Christ-like warriors for the gospel and to sacrifice and be crucifixional. And many people answer the call with joy and do so until it gets hard. And then they kind of waver and are, like you said earlier, lukewarm with it. Mm-hmm. But the challenge is that in the face of hard, in the face of struggle, in the face of persecution, stay strong, baby, don't waver. Because in that commitment is life. And it may be after death in this world, but there is life. That's the whole message. And I think it's, that we would just exhort our warrior saints, stay strong.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Great stuff.
I love it. Well, we'll be back. Good. We're going to do this again. We will be back as we are, as always, next week. But we will see you Sunday for Orthros and Liturgy at 9 and 10 a.m. Pacific time. Great stuff. Enjoyed it. Have a great one. Love you, beautiful people. And as always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.